Welcome back. Yes, we'll be talking security-related matters this morning, and we're joined by General Christopher Musa, the Chief of Defense Staff. Good morning, General. Thank you for joining us today on the program.
Good morning. Great to be here again.
Yeah, thank you. So let me start this way. I mean, time and again, people see us wear this emblem. We'll get to the airport, they ask us questions, and no matter how some of us explain to the people there, they just don't understand why we need to wear some of this. And I hope you can hear us. So perhaps you should start by telling us all and everybody else, is this any significant wearing this for the army?
Turn off.
Oh, okay. So we'll try and see if we can correct that in just a moment. So I think we're having some... Okay, General, are you back? Is that connection back now?
Yes, it's a bit low. Yeah, but I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm sure that we're going to try and raise it. So let's go again on that one. I was asking you to tell us the significance. I mean, how the military, the army feels when citizens put on this emblem, because we explain as much as possible when we get to the airports, we seem to bypass. So some who may stop us on the road. So could you talk to us about that, though?
I seem to have some echo. Your voice gets to bounce back. Probably I heard you were talking about the emblem and the significance of the Remembrance Day emblem. Yeah, I mean, as humans, we always want to be remembered for something and appreciated. I think this is just a date that will be set aside to appreciate those that have given their lives for the good of the country, for the survival of Nigeria. Is extremely significant, and why we need that is we want to have the awareness for Nigerians to take ownership of the country, to understand that we are in this together, and that we need the support of the citizens to not to demoralize the troops, but to try and encourage them. And when the troops see that the citizens are warm, are receptive, appreciative, commend them for the efforts they are making, even when they make mistakes. Mistakes are being brought out. We appreciate when there are critics, and constructive criticism is very good because it makes us do better. It keeps us in check. But the significance is that Nigerians have not forgotten those heroes that have given their lives. We have those that are alive that are injured. Some have been maimed for life, amputated hands, amputated legs. Then the family members that have lost those breadwinners that have gone, their brothers, uncles, cousins, aunties, and all, will always appreciate the fact that they have not been forgotten and their efforts have been appreciated.
About I know that you have spoken in some area, some forum, where you spoke about how the commentary that came through from Nigerians about the Tunumbiri bombing somewhat affected the army. But several others thought they were pointing those things out to ensure that, it doesn't happen again and the right things are done. So if you speak about that, did it really affect the morale of the troops? And could you also tell us if there's an update on the investigation of the matter?
Thank you very much. We understand that generally everybody feels bad. We actually feel bad also. Anytime we have mistakes, we take ownership, and we feel extremely very bad about it, especially even when we lose our own troops in war. We just want Nigerians to understand that the incident was never deliberate. We will never deliberately target our citizens. Our mandate is to protect Nigerians, innocent Nigerians, and we'll continue to do that. And we have continued to do that. It's unfortunate that out of the 99 successes we've had, this one that we had has given us a lot of negative responses. But we know Nigerians want success, and we are succeeding. The federal government has set up a committee that will look into it. We don't want to make comments about what has happened, but we know at the end of it, the truth will come out, and then everybody will really understand that it was definitely a mistake. In that same incident, there were a lot of activities that were ongoing within that general area, and we were on because a few years before then, some troops were killed. And so we're actually monitoring the movement around the area. And unfortunately, this other activity happened 10 p.m. at night, which was very strange. But like I said, mistakes were made. We'll make amends. Just for Nigerians to understand, the armed forces of Nigeria is solidly behind the federal government, solidly behind Nigeria. Our mandate is to defend democracy, and we'll continue to do that. So nobody should have any fear. We'll take amends after the committee has come up. We'll take correction. Anybody that is found to be culpable will face the music. But like I said, we should not, by our actions, inactions, or trances, demoralize our troops. These guys stay awake so that we can sleep. I see a lot of people talking. It is easier for you to sit back and say they made a mistake, they're not doing well, and this. What is the option? If they pull out from these locations, what happens? We will not even have a country. So for them to have stayed, slept in the darkness, in the sun, in the rainfall, dust, and everything, just to ensure that me and you are able to sleep, wake up, go to our offices, and do our normal routine. I think we should give them some accolade and some respect. So we just want Nigerians to understand that yes, mistakes have been made because we're human beings, but we will never be deliberate. That I can assure you.
General, we don't want you to strain your hand, so don't worry, you could drop it. If the earpiece drops, we'll put it back in so that you'll be comfortable with it. So what should Nigerians expect about this investigation? Is all of it going to be made public? When should we expect some feedback from this investigation?
Very well. It's going to be made public. The federal government is already in charge. The federal government is working on it. I'm sure the announcement will come out very soon, and then they will hit the ground running. Like I said, we are sincere, we're fair, we're impartial. We want to know what really happened. We equally want to know what actually happened so that we can make amends. I can assure you that nothing will be thrown under the carpet.
All right, General. We'll just listen to this little piece right here, but we'll come back and bring up some more matters with you in just a moment.
In order for the Nigerian Army to achieve its goals and missions, we must have the ability to envision, anticipate, and maintain flexibility in the face of this diverse, undefined contemporary security environment. Our peculiar security situation requires that, as an army, we continue to review our strategies, as well as tactics, techniques, and procedures in our search for lasting solutions to our challenges. In crafting my command philosophy, I, among others, took cognizance of the current and emerging security environment, steps that must be taken to achieve our goals, and the importance of jointness in operational planning. In the recent past, the Nigerian Army has witnessed changes in its structure, doctrine, welfare, and logistic support. These changes were aimed at repositioning the Nigerian Army to accomplish assigned missions within a joint environment in defense of Nigeria. Accordingly, the Nigerian Army is constantly being repositioned by successive administrations to conduct protracted land operations independently or jointly with other services and security agencies, employing diverse capabilities in any terrain within and outside Nigeria. The recent surge in the number of terrorists surrendering is a testament to the effectiveness of this offensive concept. Despite the recent gains and successes in operations, the security landscape in Nigeria is still characterized by threats that are complex, multifaceted, and unpredictable, with blurred boundaries between external and internal risk factors. The Northeast, Northwest, and North Central zones are still characterized by pockets of terrorism, insurgency, banditry, and kidnapping. The secessionist, kidnapping, and criminality threats in the Southeast, militancy in the South-South, and banditry in the Southwest regions among other threats, persist in isolated or spotted distributions. The activities of cultists and porous borders across the country also paved illicit cross-border activities which have compounded our security challenges and threatened our coexistence as a nation. The containment and reduction in the impact of these threats is a testament to the armed forces of Nigeria's resolve to evolve its approach as part of the whole of society effort to addressing the threats.
Well, we still have with us the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. General, it's really good to see you with us this morning. I know that you've had quite a number of engagements with the National Assembly. You appeared before them on a number of occasions. One of them also has to do with budgets and asking for more funds to support the work of the Nigerian military. I'm looking at all of the challenges that we're currently facing from the east to the west, from north to south. Are you able to measure in concrete terms, whether or not we're making progress on any of the fronts of the wars that we're currently fighting?
Yeah, thank you very much. We are actually making progress. It's going to be slow. It's going to be slow because we are dealing with people that are benefiting immensely from what they are doing. Most of it is economic. When the Boko Haram incident started, it was ideological. But now that we've defeated them, we've pushed them down so much, it is economic. And because we have a group of Nigerians that patronize these individuals because they make so much money, and you can see the process they make from kidnappings, from abductions, and from all this stuff. So, and I always said that Nigerians must take ownership of our challenges. It is only when we do that together we can win this battle. Let those trading with them, supporting them, the logisticians as we call them, let them stop. We have a lot of individuals that fund them, that give them this. Those are aspects that we need to be able to checkmate. The kinetic effort is ongoing. We're doing so much and we're achieving a lot of success. Just a few days ago, we've taken out a lot of them. These things don't actually come out. And we don't want to just run to the media as if we are making... what happened? We're just trying to make... we're not trying to push these efforts to make it look as if we are campaigning. It's not a campaign. This is a military campaign that we're doing. And it is important for Nigerians to take ownership of it. We are succeeding and will continue to do better. We're hopeful that the budget, when released, when we get the funds, we'll be able to get the much needed equipment that we need. We're leveraging a lot on technology. The land mass is vast. We have a lot of forests that we need to cover. We believe that with technology, it will actually will be very precise. And this will assist us in avoiding such errors that happen in Kaduna.
Well, I do know that in one of the engagements, we heard that it might take another, 3 decades or so before we eventually are able to clear out some of the situations that we've seen in the north, especially northeast and also northwest. How long are you projecting that, all of the territories that had been taken before now by either, kidnappers or another, branch of terrorists, how long do you think it will be before all of these territories are back fully under Nigerian control?
Sooner than later. It depends on what we do as a nation. If we work together as a team, every Nigerian playing his role together to support the military and the federal government, I think we will succeed. A lot of the equipment that we require, we don't produce them, so we have to buy, and we buy them in hard currency. So it's not even easy to get by. Now we have the Israeli, the Hamas crisis. We have the Ukraine, the Russian crisis. All those ones are taking tolls because to even get these equipments, it's not easy. So what we're saying is we must develop our own industrial complex. And it is when we do that, then we produce what we need. And it will save us foreign exchange that has been very difficult to come by. But I can assure you that sooner rather than later, we'll get this. If we continue the pressure, I'm sure we'll succeed.
I know that the chief of defense, I mean, at the ministry, not the ministry now, but I mean, your role will be to coordinate all the other service chiefs so that you're able to get maximum results. But oftentimes, well, at least before now, there had been cases where it would seem that the different services were working in silos. I do also know that when the president came on, one of the priority areas was also the Niger Delta. And only recently, just yesterday, while speaking with inaugurating the board of the NNPCL, he did say that the Niger Delta has to be treated like the goose that lays the golden egg. I do not know what that means for you, but before now, the Nigerian military had the mandate of the president to ensure that assets are protected there. The people, too, are also protected as well, and that the country is able to make what it can from the resources in the Niger Delta. What would you say the biggest challenge of the military has been working with those who have also been given contracts to be able to, ensure that we're able to make the most of our crude oil production, looking at the fact that now we've been told that crude oil production figures are dropping?
Well, I can tell you, I think the crude oil production is increasing rather than dropping. The challenges in Nigeria have been there for a very, very long time, and it needs a holistic approach. But what I need to tell you is that the armed forces is one. Jointness is what we do now. And with the service chiefs, there is no rivalry within us. We discuss almost on daily basis on issues on the ground. There are thousands of operations ongoing as we speak. We cannot be directly involved because we have commanders down to the tactical levels. So what we do is that we delegate authority down to service commanders, to the general officers commanding, or theater commanders, or force commanders, to the general officers commanding, to the brigade commanders, to the commanding officers, to the company commanders, to the platoon commander, to the section commander. So you can see that chain that goes round. People have the impression that at the top here we say, no, all we give is that we give them direction, mission statement, what for them to achieve, and then they move towards that. We continue to put a lot of efforts in the South Side to ensure that we deal with this issue of illegal bunkering and pipeline vandalization and all this. Apart from the environmental challenges that it creates, we're losing so much, and we need all the funds we can get as a country so that we can move forward. So our attention is there, and we're doing very well. We don't understand that the Niger Delta, especially the waterfront, the water body is massive. It's not a place that you just walk and arrest everybody. And what we are doing is that we're having challenges, again, with a lot of the communities. Some communities even provide protection to these individuals that do this. On daily basis, we destroy illegal oil refineries. As we are doing that, you are turning around, they are fixing them back. They've developed the capacity to develop them, to fix them back at a very, very short distance. We have seen situations where 8, 7, 5, 6 kilometers away from pipelines, broken, done perfectly, connected to individual houses, into their compounds, and they are moving these things out. We cannot be everywhere. If Nigerians report these issues to us, we will be able to address them. So that's why it's important for all of us together.
Okay, pardon me to jump in.
Security is our responsibility.
But I'm sure you might have also heard some of the accusations against some of your men who, we hear lots of complaints that most times they struggle to be posted to the region. And when they're posted after a short while, their life changes. In other words, they are involved in this vandalism. Do you get any such reports? What are you doing about that?
Well, we get such reports, but again, sometimes our postings are based on performance. And when we put with their commanders that have done remarkably well, and we want them to continue to do well. We've in the past posted some people and they didn't do well, I will change them quickly. But what I can tell you is that we monitor what our commanders are doing, what our officers and soldiers are doing. Anyone that we find that is doing anything illegal, we address that as quickly as possible. The private security companies are working. We are fine-tuning their mode of operation such that it will be very, very effective. And I can guarantee you that anybody that is found to be doing anything illegal, especially a member of the armed forces, we will take adequate action against that individual. That will do. I will continue to do that. And that's why I say all the operations we have established standing court martials. We jail personnel when they commit offenses. And I can, for free, probably visit a lot of the prisons around the country. We do not hide anybody who is a criminal. We have zero tolerance for criminality.
Since we're still on the matter of, crude oil theft and the fight against it, I'd like you to speak to the vessel, the case of the vessel that was arrested in Ondo State recently. There was a face-off between men of the naval forces and Tantita Security Services, with Tantita accusing naval officers of being complicit in the theft of the crude oil that was aboard the vessel. And this is not the first time that Tantita is making this accusation. What would be the explanation of the armed forces over this continuing accusation?
That incident, the Tantita guys were with the army chaps. It was a situation where they saw a ship on the high sea and they moved in there, not knowing that the Navy had already arrested that ship. And so in their own interpretation, they thought, but because they were with the army chaps, we knew that they were operating on there. And then when they confirmed, they verified that it was already an arrested ship, everything went off. I just want people to understand that we must work as a team. Tantita was engaged by the NNPC to be able to provide additional information to the security forces. We do not have eyes everywhere. And by nature of the fact is, most of the members of the Tantita were people who have operated within the general area. They are locals within the general area. So they understand the place, they understand the waterways. There are areas that they know that we don't know. And so they provide those areas. And like I tell you, most of the areas where we have challenges of crude oil are the abandoned oil wellheads. And we have consistently requested that those wellheads should be permanently blocked. If we block them completely, people will not have where to go and fetch or illegally draw out crude from there. And so that's why we're appealing. The cameras we have on ground can give us the frontage. The back is what we need to do, so that, because they are taking those areas, and we have thousands of wellheads scattered all over the swamps. We cannot cover those, but we need these security guys to be able to tell us these locations. I know because of the nature of the terrain, there are some areas, if you don't have flat bottom boats, you cannot get to those locations. So with their presence there, we're working together. So we're fine-tuning this operation so that we let them understand that they have a role to play, and then the armed forces has a role to play. But I can tell you, we don't have these issues on ground. We'll continue to work, and it will continue to get better.
General Musa, permit me to revisit the matter of Tudumbiri with a view to, demanding more transparency of past accidental bombings. Yes, the governor of Kaduna State has assured us that he has had continued engagement with the armed forces, and he's promising that this time around that, the investigation will be carried out and will be made public. Would you provide assurances in that regard as well, that investigations into past accidental bombings will be made public, such that, the army would rebuild confidence with the population that has been affected in past accidental bombings, and for Tudumbiri community as well?
Yeah, very well. I can tell you, most of the communities know and understand that it is in the quest to get the terrorists that these mistakes were made. Driving in the forest while we move around on patrols, we get a lot of support from the communities. You see them appreciating what we're doing. Most times, some mistakes are made. Most of the people that want to harp on the errors rather than the successes are people with their own intent. We don't know what the intents are, but I can guarantee that we have succeeded 80% of what we're doing. Mistakes will definitely be there, but we will avoid them. We are fine-tuning there, and we're waiting for the results for the committee to finish. Once they bring up, we'll look at what were the areas that we need to also fine-tune. Like I said, as long as you are alive, you keep on learning, you keep on improving. It is not only in Nigeria. I'm sure you have been watching other current military operations, crises all over the world. You can see that these mistakes happen. It is not only for us alone. Besides, we don't produce most of the items that we need. Sometimes weather, you could take all the coordinates and do what you're supposed to do. This just happened. It's highly regrettable. We understand that Nigerians are aggrieved, but I can assure them, let them know that and understand that their armed forces are there doing their job just to ensure that Nigeria moves forward, and will continue to do that.
Pardon me to butt in. Will the outcome of past investigations into past accidental bombings be made public, as well as that of Tudunbiri?
Yeah, well, I really can't say much about that. All I know is that we, on our own, we take our own, we have our own orderly room procedure that we do. We take action, we take corrections, we adjust our SOPs on how we conduct operation, and that's why you see that it keeps on getting better. And punishments are meted, as important as it is. But again, it should be corrective. The aspect of even taking people to prison for whatever it is they've done, it should be corrective. It is not the aspect. These guys have sacrificed so much, and they did not, and they will never, ever intentionally want to kill innocent civilians. And let me make this clear. The terrorists have understood that we have, challenges while trying to go after them. So what do? Human shields. They go into communities, mix up with the communities, and this has added into prolonging the operation we're doing. On several occasions in the Northeast, North Central, Northwest, we have called off strikes of very important criminals that wanted to get, because they embedded themselves within the civilian community. And once we're able to identify that as a civilian community, we call off that strike. And that's one of the reasons why it's prolonging the whole operation. But like I said, this one was a big mistake. We were on the heat of these individuals, and suddenly these other innocent people came across, operating, moving just like the way those other guys were. And there was a mix-up, and this incident happened. But we'll take amends, and then we'll move forward.
Gratifying, General, and it cannot be any easier, particularly on your troops. We'll come back to that shortly. But you've also been quoted as talking about some of the frustrations that the army, the military generally, is having, especially in maintaining the peace in the southeast, quoting some Nigerian outside the shores of the nation, frustrating the efforts of the army. Can you talk to us about that? What are the inhibitions that are coming? What partnership are you getting from the people, or particularly even from the state governments and leaders of thoughts in the southeast?
Yeah, so thank you very much. In the southeast, we're getting a lot of support from the people, from the government especially. What we are calling, like I mentioned the other day about someone, Ekpa, him sitting in Finland and causing confusion in Nigeria is unacceptable. The Finnish government must stop him from doing, if they say he's their citizen, he's affecting another sovereign nation. And for whatever reason, they should call him to order, because I know they will not take it if it was the other way around. He was in Nigeria and causing problem in Finland. So I think it's very, very critical. Again, we still have reports of individuals that covertly support this one, contribute money to them, encourage them, give them logistics and leadership. We want to call on them that the armed forces and other security agencies are going both overtly and covertly. Anybody that is found to be supporting them will be treated as one of them. And it is important. What we need is, for those, a lot of them are just a bunch of individuals that are misled. There is nothing like secessionist tendency. A lot of them are into looking for money, they're into kidnapping, ritual killings. We have seen videos of what they do to humans. They kidnap people, cut their heads, cut their hands, and for whatever reason, I think that is very barbaric. That is evil. Nobody should support such a thing. We should all put hands together with the state government, with the federal government, to move this country forward. We have a lot of other challenges that have been tackled. We shouldn't allow some individuals to drag us back. We should learn to move forward as Nigerians. One nation, one destiny.
Perhaps the challenge there, General, is in the communication, what we are telling our nationals. I mean, for some people to be supporting secessionist tendencies, as you have said, against the unity of the country, I think that's very concerning. But I'd like you to speak, if you want, you may speak to that one, but I'm very concerned about the welfare of your men spread all over the nation. There are those who believe that the military has been spread so thin and consequently unable to really do some of the primary functions for which it is called according to the Constitution. What are the challenges that you are aware that your men are having in terms of their welfare, so that they can give their hearts and soul to the services that they have to offer to Nigeria?
Okay. If you look at the Constitution, our primary responsibility is the territorial integrity. But if you look at the territorial integrity, it is implied that charity begins at home. We cannot be protecting the territory and the home front is on fire and then sit back and watch. And Our training is such that we train even on police duties. So when people tell us it is not our responsibility, yes, it's not our primary responsibility, but we have a responsibility to ensure that both within and outside, Nigerians are protected, and that's exactly what we're doing. Now, I mentioned the other time the issue of welfare. Over the past we have, on average, the armed forces recruit over 15,000 personnel, both officers and soldiers, into the system. We are not building new barracks. We know efforts we have for the budget has captured some of it. We need to do more. We need to renovate the old ones because they've been there for ages, so that we can fix them. My dream is for every officer and soldier to have an accommodation that he can look up and say, look, this is my own, this is my barracks. We trained a lot because of the operations we're conducting. A lot of the officers and soldiers are out there in the field. If today all these operations are over and we have to go back to the barracks, there won't be enough barracks for us. The issue of ration cash allowance where we feed, like I've informed you, anytime we're on operations, I, as a general, I'm being fed on 1,200 per day with my soldiers. From the first general to the last soldier, the same amount. That's what we manage with. My soldier collects at least less than 50,000 for his salary a month. We all know the situations on ground. My appeal is for them to have salaries that, is worth it for the work they're doing. We deserve to have that, so that they can encourage them to want to do more. We have a lot of them that have been injured, families separated for a very long time. These are aspects that we think, the moral aspect of it, that will actually ginger the troops to want to do more. And especially on the issue of Nigerians, also encouraging the men. We have seen other countries when military men come into airports, how they are being applauded. They get first-class treatment wherever they go to. When they go to buy things, they get rebate. We don't get all those things in Nigeria, and yet we're doing such services. We're not saying that everybody should give us everything that we need, but I think we should be considered, and the troops deserve commendation. I have told you as a commander, my greatest pain is when I have to face the family of my either officer or soldier to tell them they lost their breadwinner. It is painful. You go back with nightmares when you close your eyes. Nigerians should understand that these people have their families all over. Just the way we're enjoying with our, now it's holiday period. A lot of people are on holidays, have traveled abroad. We don't have that luxury. Most times you don't get to see your family all over this period. These are sacrifices they make, and I think we should look at aspects of trying to commend them. On medical aspects, on the treatment, we have to get prosthetics for those of them that went through IEDs. If you see the devastating effects of IEDs on troops, legs amputated, arms amputated, so many injuries being faced. So we're pushing well, and I think the armed forces deserve some level of commendation. But like I said, President Tinubu has actually done so much so far. He's really, really concerned. He has told us his mandate is for us to restore peace. We must operate jointly, which we're doing, and he has promised he's going to approve funding, enough funding for us to be able to get the equipment that we need. And I can guarantee Nigerians, the more we get, the more we perform. With the little we don't have, we're even still doing very well. I'm happy that Nigerians, we have companies, civilian companies that have also started producing made in Nigeria equipment. That's what we need. I think that's the way forward. Other companies are also coming in to partner with DICON. We must produce what we need in order to enjoy and be able to have a very professional armed forces that will perform its task remarkably.
Well, General, there are so many issues to touch on, but unfortunately we are out of time. So let me just put in this one. If you can respond in a very short time. Clearly, 1,200 per day is not right. So certainly a lot that has to change. And because, we do appreciate what the army does for the country, because we don't have another army. We have to do what we can. We'd like to see those images too of Nigerian army coming into the plane, people who stand and salute them. But General, are you doing anything to improve this civilian-military relations? Because there are some images that keep circulating on social media where you see some of your men in uniform boasting that they could deal with civilians, and then you go out on the road, you see them brutalizing civilians. Those are things that will stand against improving relations between civilians and the military. But as much as people want to reach out, when they see those kind of narratives, they're forced to pull back. So do you have conversations with your men to do something to ensure that they improve so that we can even volunteer information above all else?
Yeah, there's a lot of improvement. I mean, in the past, I can tell you that most of the videos sometimes you get to see are being recycled. For whatever reason, individuals just want to make it look as if things are not improving, but I can guarantee you that we're doing extremely very well. We have, in our training now, we've emphasized on issue of human rights, how to deal with civilians in every conflict. Now, because it is asymmetric warfare, it is people-oriented. So that's why we have more interaction with the people. And then, nature of things, we are treating our troops for post-traumatic stress disorder. We have troops that have been out there for a number of years out. You know how it is. In America, we've seen how they deal with PTSD. Sometimes somebody wakes up and shoots people just like that, but we don't have that here. To tell you that our training has improved remarkably. We'll continue to do more. We appeal to Nigerians, please, if you see any of our men doing anything illegal, not behaving well, don't hesitate. Report back to us. We'll take action. That I guarantee you. We have zero tolerance to indiscipline, and we'll continue to do that. Like I said, the war has it has been on for a while. Normally, people have different levels of reacting to issues on ground. And so we do that once we induct them in. Before they go in, they are counseled. When they finish, we take them back to Jaji. We counsel them before sending them back to their families. Because sometimes that you are out there and you have seen what it is to fight wars. You have lost colleagues. You have seen blood and all this. It has an effect on individuals. And that's why people should have some level of understanding that some of these guys have come out where they survived perilous occasions and they're just trying to feed back into the community. So we're doing so much, both at the theater, out of the theater, and we'll continue to monitor them to ensure that they behave well. Nigerians appreciate what they're doing. Like I tell you, we drive around, we see kids come around and saying, thank you, God bless you. God, consistently people call us and just pray for us to continue to do what we're doing. We know there are some people that probably might not, for one reason or the other, are not happy that the armed forces is being appreciated. But I think for the good of our country, we should not demoralize our troops. We should all put hands together to ensure that we encourage them. Because the more they succeed, the more peace we enjoy in the country.
All right, General Christopher Musa, Chief of Defense Staff, we do thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. We thank you for the work you're doing to the country. And we also wish you and your men, we hope you all have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance.
All right, thank you. Well, back in just a moment. Don't go away.